Our webinar for today is entitled Memorial Day Lessons, Honoring the Sacrifice of Veterans with Students. And I'm excited to share some great lessons with you today. As I mentioned at the very start, my name is Noelle Wohl, Director of Education here at the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. Before I started working here, I spent several years as an adjunct professor, teaching English and leadership classes. And during that time, I had the privilege of using some of the Medal of Honor Character Development Program lessons with students. It's what made me want to do this job. I've been in my current role with the Character Development Program for about 9 years, and I love that my job gives me the chance to share great resources with educators like yourselves. Before we dive into the resources today, I want to start with a little bit of background information about Memorial Day. And I'm going to start on this first slide with some things you probably already know or might already know. It is a United States federal holiday. It's observed on the last Monday in May. It's a day to remember men and women who sacrificed their lives while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. As on this slide, there are going to be some facts that you might not be as familiar with. Originally began in the U.S. as Decoration Day in 1868. That was following the Civil War, where over 600,000 lives were lost to battle, and people were looking for a way to remember those who were lost. Approximately 25 different cities claim to have originated the holiday. It was observed on May 30th from 1868 until 1970 with the purpose of decorating the graves of those who had died in war. And from what I read, May 30th was actually chosen because there was a guarantee that there would be fresh flowers available all across the United States to be able to lay on those graves in commemoration of those whose lives were lost. The Uniform Monday Holiday Act was passed by Congress, took effect in 1971, moving the day to where it currently is and making it a federal holiday. Now, there are many other facts about Memorial Day that you and your students can research and learn about as part of the resources that we're releasing today. You're the first to see them. There's going to be a full-page information sheet on the history of Memorial Day, along with a multiple-choice reading check that you can use with your students. And it can be incorporated into the lessons we discuss, or even used as a standalone. And that piece is mostly going to be geared to middle and high school students, but it can definitely be excerpted or adapted for different levels. We're going to start today with some elementary Memorial Day lessons, and these are going to be taken from our current elementary curriculum. Now, finding ways to articulate the meaning of Memorial Day to younger students can be very challenging. We chose 2 of our elementary lessons to feature, and the first one is going to be for younger students. This is F is for Flag, a lesson for kindergarten level students about the meaning of the flag and of patriotism. For students who might be too young for a message about service members who died for our country, a focus on patriotism and the flag is a great way to mark Memorial Day. If you do have a younger elementary audience who is ready to understand more about service members who made the ultimate sacrifice, you can alter this activity a little bit to make it more conducive to Memorial Day by writing the name of a fallen service member on the back or under the flag and displaying them around your school. For our older elementary students, we are going to suggest our 5th grade lesson, which is called Patriotic Poppies. It's a great entry point for older students to start to understand the importance of Memorial Day. It uses the book The Poppy Lady by Barbara Elizabeth Walsh, featuring the story of Moyna Bell Michael, who is a teacher from Georgia. It also features the poem In Flanders Field by John McCrae. Now, this poem is used in the lesson in conjunction with this book, and the book is a great read for the older elementary audience. It is a picture book, but it has some dense text that will really let your students dive into the story and understand more about Memorial Day. But when paired with this poem, it allows students to truly understand that kind of sacrifice message that is what we want them to get for Memorial Day. This poem, even as a standalone, is a great opportunity for a wide variety of ages to understand more about Memorial Day. I am going to take a minute and just read it aloud very quickly. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. Now, after reading the book and this poem, one of the challenges that students see in this Patriotic Poppies lesson is that question. And what we ask students to contemplate in part of the concluding activity is, how will you take up the torch handed to you by those who gave their lives for our country? And this can be a heavy message, but I think it's an important one for a wide variety of audiences. The book and the poem give a good entry point for that question for this age of students. There's also an extended activity here with this lesson that allows you to create the buddy poppies, which the book mentions, and honor those who gave their lives. This is a good tie-in, that younger and older elementary activity that allows you to kind of create something that you can display in your hallways, tie your school together, tie it back to your community. Both great lessons to use as you prepare your students for Memorial Day. I'm going to pause really quickly here, see if we have any questions that came in. I do see something. I will say, when you're looking for resources for Memorial Day, there are a lot of great things out there, a lot of great websites. As I mentioned, we're going to have a piece. I've also seen great articles on history.com. PBS has a good one, and VA, I think it's va.com, but the Veterans Administration website has a great page with a lot of information about the history of Memorial Day, and and that is one of the sources that we cited in our piece, which you'll hear a little bit more about as we move through. All right, go on to our secondary Memorial Day lessons. And for honoring Memorial Day with middle and high school students, we have 4 brand new lessons that I'm excited to share with you today. Our first 2 lessons are going to be what I'm calling mini lessons, ones that be completed in about 30 minutes or less, something easy to incorporate into a partial class or into an advisory period. If you had just a little bit of time after testing, these are great lessons to get in, get the message, and get back out and allow students to kind of have that short time to engage with the subject matter. The first of those 2 mini lessons is called Remembering the Fallen Heroes of Normandy. Now, this lesson is going to give your students a chance to learn the stories of 4 Medal of Honor recipients who were killed in action during the Normandy campaign following D-Day. As you see here, it will be John Pender, John Butts, Jimmy Monteith, Charles de Glopper, all of whom served in the U.S. Army during World War II and lost their lives in battles during that Normandy campaign. We don't always have a lot of opportunities to engage with recipients who were killed in action. This is a unique opportunity and a great way for your students to engage with the stories of people who did not live on to tell their own story, like the Medal of Honor recipients we see in a lot of our videos. I included in all these lessons, these secondary lessons, are objectives, so you can see what students are going to take away from the lesson. As you'll see, they're going to be able to demonstrate an understanding of the courage and sacrifice of Allied forces in Normandy during World War II, explain the significance of observing Memorial Day in the United States, reflect on honoring the memory of the fallen. Little information about what you'll find in that lesson. There's going to be a text document detailing the story of D-Day and the ensuing battles. This is a great way for your students to get some of that background context that they're going to need to understand the significance of the stories that they will read. And then an activity which requires reading the citations and comparing and contrasting with a graphic organizer that we provide for the students to help them make those connections and understand how the stories fit together in the larger theme of sacrifice that we are presenting in all these lessons for Memorial Day. And for this particular lesson, if you're not able to use it for Memorial Day this year, it's also a good opportunity to commemorate the anniversary of D-Day on June 6th. And this year, 2021, is going to be the 77th anniversary of that attack that changed the tide of the war. Our next mini lesson for Memorial Day is going to be entitled Sacrifice and Memory. It's going to focus on Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg. In this lesson, students are going to explain the significance of sacrifice by exploring the observance of Medal of Honor Day, read, analyze, and reflect on a narrative, and differentiate Memorial Day from those other holidays like Veterans Day. You'll notice that I pulled an image of recipient Groberg with his bracelet, which is commemorating the names of the fallen in his unit. Groberg says in his video, "I wear this bracelet every day, everywhere I go. This is a reminder that I am lucky, and it's an honor to still be on this earth, and I have to earn it every single day." In the concluding activity of this lesson, students are asked to reflect on that quote and Groberg's decision to wear it in memory of his fellow soldiers. We say a lot of times that the Medal of Honor action was usually the worst day of a recipient's life. It can be traumatic, it can be upsetting, and having to bear that burden of those who didn't come home can be heavy. And he's one who chooses to remember. And it's an important kind of point to make with our students. Also in this lesson, our students are going to engage in group discussions about the words memory and sacrifice. Again, read that citation, view his video, and as reflected on his bracelet, understand the sacrifice of his fellow soldiers and how that impacted him then and still does today, and how we can honor the memory of the fallen on Memorial Day. We also have a recent webinar interview with Flo Groberg. If you have more time and want to show your students an extended conversation with him, I'll talk at the end of this webinar about how to access those past webinars and all of our other resources. This next lesson that we are going to talk about is a bit more in depth and will take about a full class session to complete. The lesson is titled Honoring Memory and features Medal of Honor recipient Leroy Petrie. For those of you who have not seen Leroy Petrie's video in the past, the first thing that you might notice about him in this photo is that he has an artificial hand. Leroy's Medal of Honor action involved picking up and throwing a grenade away from his unit to save the lives of his comrades. He lost his hand in the process. He details in his video and in many other interviews that he chose to have the names of fallen members of his unit inscribed on his prosthetic arm and hand. And this is an example of how he's chosen to commemorate his friends who died in battle, and that is a powerful image for our students. You'll see in this lesson that students are going to synthesize information from sources to understand a narrative, answer questions, providing evidence from two sources, and explain the significance of sacrifice by exploring the observation of Memorial Day, and again, understanding how we commemorate the individuals who have fallen. Now, this lesson is going to feature that Memorial Day background reading piece that I mentioned, an opportunity for older students to take more of a deep dive into the past and the meaning of Memorial Day. This lesson features that text piece with a reading check, as well as individual and group work assessing Leroy Petrie's citation and his oral history video, and then two different note organizer worksheets that are going to help guide students through the lesson and help them make those connections. All of this will be on the website, available for download today. Our final brand new lesson is entitled Memory in Their Own Words. You'll see that a lot of these titles are very similar. We are finding different and nuanced ways to explain these concepts to students using different stories. This one is going to center on a montage of 4 Medal of Honor recipients from different conflicts. All of the recipients in this video, they talk about the people around them. If you've watched our videos or heard Medal of Honor recipients speak, you know that they all talked about those with whom they served. Medal of Honor actions don't happen in a vacuum, and they're very entwined with the stories of their fellow service members. Often the actions of the recipients were really driven by the love of the people around them, and many of the living recipients carry tremendous guilt about those who were lost in the battle, the fact that they were left behind. We already talked about that with Flo Groberg and with Leroy Petrie. And that can be a heavy burden to bear, especially when you've been placed in the spotlight after that action or as a result of that action. So this lesson is going to focus on the stories of 4 recipients: James Livingston, U.S. Marine Corps, Vietnam War; Robert B. Nett, U.S. Army, World War II; Leroy A. Petrie, U.S. Army, War on Terror, Afghanistan. It's a short clip of his that is part of the video that's in the other lesson. George H. O'Brien, Jr., U.S. Marine Corps, Korean War. In this lesson, students are going to analyze primary sources, that oral history, to compare the concepts of memory and sacrifice over time in context of the experience of the Medal of Honor recipients. They are going to need to understand and articulate the significance of Memorial Day in the United States, which all these lessons, of course, are going to underscore. This lesson kicks off with a discussion and reflection on the place of memorials in our society and in our communities. It asks students to think about bridges, buildings, parks, their schools, things that are named after people, and asks them to contemplate why we as a society memorialize people. Why is it so important for us to have ways to let people's memory live on after they are gone, to put people's names on things, and to create this concrete object to remind us of a person. Next, similar to that Normandy lessons, students will be comparing and contrasting the stories of 4 recipients. Now, you'll notice this throughout our lessons. We try to find ways to engage students in different activities. In the first lesson that I discussed for secondary students, we have students reading the citations. In this lesson, we have students comparing the videos of 4 different recipients, or clips from the videos. And those are 2 very different activities for students to engage with. First of all, the difference between a written narrative and a video obviously takes different skills to understand, but we also have a primary government document versus an oral history. So students in that first are trying to understand an individual story as told in a very kind of cold manner, detailing their heroism and, unfortunately, their death as a result of the situation they were in. And then this story, the series of stories, offers the opportunity for individuals who did live through that action to reflect on it, to have some perspective, and to think about the people they served with. So to be able to compare and contrast those kind of cold written citations and understand the difference between those people's experiences. And then on the other hand, in this more in-depth lesson, to think about those 4 individuals and the way they articulate their own story, those facts versus emotions, even experiencing those kind of similar activities with these different mediums, I think is a very powerful thing for students. The lesson's going to have that comparing and contrasting feature with the worksheets that we have had in the previous lessons, and then a concluding activity that's going to ask students to think of an elevator pitch for a more appropriate way to commemorate Memorial Day. I'm actually going to read that assignment as we start to wrap up, and here's how it's phrased in the lesson. Have students visualize entering an elevator for a ride to the 99th floor. Entering the elevator, 2 people are discussing their plans for their Memorial Day weekend. Nothing in their discussion hinted at observing the memory of service members who sacrificed their lives for their country. Ask students to write a civil and polite elevator speech that might persuade their new acquaintances to observe Memorial Day in a new way. Now, I'm an English teacher by trade, and the ability to persuade others in a civil way is an increasingly valuable skill. So through this assignment, students are kind of flexing that muscle and understanding how they can politely, kindly, civilly try to change someone's mind. And through this assignment, students will also challenge themselves to think about how they can change the way that they celebrate Memorial Day. You know, that is something we see a lot, people talking about celebrating it. But as we discussed in the history of Memorial Day, it's really not a day to celebrate. It's a day to commemorate or mark or observe, but it's not something that necessarily involves throwing a party. It involves a respectful reverence and appreciation for those who gave their lives so that we can have the freedoms that we have. I want to show you a short clip from Medal of Honor recipient Clint Robichaud. You may have seen his unit story brought to life in the movie The Outpost, which came out last year, which showed the actions for which he was awarded the medal. And in this clip, it's when Clint is giving a speech very shortly after having received the medal, and he's reflecting on those who died in the battle for which he was awarded the Medal of Honor. So I'm going to play that for you now, and we'll come back after it finishes.
The Medal of Honor is not often given when things went well on a battlefield. It tends to come at a price, and heroes are often revealed. Some say I'm a hero, but it doesn't make sense because I got to come home. 8 of my brothers fought to survive for a place we had called home. And more importantly, they fought for their comrades. And in the end, they gave their lives in that defense. They are the real heroes here today. I will wear it with dignity and humility in their honor. I vow to respect their memories and carry each of them in my heart for the rest of my life.
Those words are powerful and really get at the heart of the meaning of Memorial Day. Just showing a video like Clint's and opening the door for discussion afterwards can be a way to start a conversation with your students about what service members are willing to do and what they're willing to sacrifice for our country. You know, these videos are a wonderful resource of our program. I do encourage you to look through the archive and find videos like Clint's that you think would just be a good conversation starter for your class. It's a very valuable tool, and it's a good way for students to see our military members as people, as individuals who have lived lives and lost people who they care about and are affected by the things around them. So our goal with all of these lessons is really to have students stop and think. Like all of the lessons of the Medal of Honor Character Development Program, these are about using the personal narrative as an entry point for a bigger conversation. We want students to know about the meaning and history of Memorial Day, absolutely, and to know that our freedom did not come free, that generations have fought and died to protect it, but at an even deeper level, we want them to understand sacrifice. As Medal of Honor recipient Jack Jacobs put it, the immense value of expending energy for someone else. And in the case of many Medal of Honor recipients and service members, that meant sacrificing their lives. Now, we hope that our students will never be put in a situation like that, but we hope that in big ways and small ways that they see the importance of sacrificing their energy, their time, their attention for other people and for important causes. And I hope that you've seen something today that you can use with your students. I'm just going to check the Q&A box and see if there's anything that's come in that anybody has asked. I don't see anything, but we will be here for a few more minutes as I share a couple more pieces of information. So if you do have questions, please feel free to drop those in, and I will be more than happy to answer them as we move forward. So I do want to thank you for joining us today and finish up with some information about how to access our materials. So please visit us at cmohs.org to access the lessons that you saw today, as well as all of the lessons of the Medal of Honor Character Development Program. If you go to the secondary lessons, you'll see our Memorial Day collection right up front. They're going to be the first 4 lessons. And then there's a lot of other lessons in there that you can sprinkle in during the month to use with your students. Just searching for the value of sacrifice will be a great way to supplement if you want more than just these 4. You can also learn more about the Medal of Honor recipients by reading their citations and watching their videos. All of the lessons that are going to be posted are going to come with citation sheets. if the citation reading is required with the lesson. However, the citations are also on the recipient pages. So if you still have students who are remote, or if you are working in a virtual school environment, you can always send students to the recipient pages to find all this information themselves. It will all be available there. They don't have to log in or anything to be able to get it. Also on our website, you'll be able to get the most current information about our upcoming webinars and other events. You have one other webinar opportunity in May. So Kathy Metcalf will be back with our next webinar in the Medal of Honor recipient interview series. She will have a conversation with Medal of Honor recipient Paul Buka on May 26th. We invite you to join that webinar and bring your class with you to hear what he has to say. I know it will be wonderful. He has a great story to share. Also on our website, you can access our new online training for teachers. It's going to introduce educators like you to the character development program, prepare you to use the lessons and materials with your students. We would also encourage you to please share what we're doing. You know, if this is something you enjoy, please share it on your social media. Please share it with other teachers at your school. You know, we would love to have people engage in what we're doing. We're happy to be able to offer these resources for free. And we would like to thank our sponsors for today's webinar for all that they do to support the work of the Medal of Honor Character Development Program and the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. If you have questions about donating, please reach out to Kate Smith, whose name you see on the screen here. After we finish up today, you will see a survey pop up on your screen. Please fill that in so that we can continue to improve these webinars to make them the best possible teaching tool for you and for your students. I did see a question come in about Clint Romashay's video and a direct link. I will add that to the follow-up email for today's webinar. So when you get your thank you for attending webinar, I will make sure that that direct link to his video is in there. And you can also find his page by looking at cmohs.org. And the first thing you see on your left on the black bar will be the recipients. And you can search for each recipient there. You can also look on our YouTube page or our Vimeo page to find our full collection of Medal of Honor recipient living histories. So, like I said, a great way to put those personal narratives in your classroom and let students hear directly from Medal of Honor recipients. All right, I don't see any other questions, so I will say again, thank you for joining us. We hope that you will be able to use these lessons in your classroom to commemorate Memorial Day, to help your students better understand the meaning of sacrifice and how they can honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And I hope that we will see you again on a future webinar. Thanks.